In this video, we're going to cover diphthongs. Diphthongs. Diphthong is two vowels that are put together that make two different sounds. These two letters, di, come from the Greek word vio, which means two, and phthong comes from the Greek word phthogos, which means sound. So it's two sounds. Modern Greek diphthongs aren't actually diphthongs. They're digraphs. Because modern Greek diphthongs are two letters side by side, but they don't make two different sounds. They make one sound. So a digraph is just two letters side by side, that make a sound that the two letters don't make. And we'll see this. So there are a bunch of diphthongs or digraphs. I'm going to use both terms just to make everybody happy. Diphthong has stuck throughout history. So even though they're not diphthongs, modern Greek diphthongs are still called diphthongs. So there are diphthongs that are just vowels, and then there are diphthongs or digraphs that are consonants, and we'll see them all. So our first diphthong is alpha iota. So if this were a diphthong, this would make the sound I, but it doesn't make the sound I. The alpha and the iota together are two letters side by side that do not make the sounds that these two letters individually make. Alpha iota put together makes a single sound, and that sound is e. And there are going to be a bunch of these. So I'm just going to list them all the vowel ones right now. Epsilon iota, omicron iota, omicron ypsilon, ypsilon iota, alpha ypsilon, epsilon ypsilon, and eta ypsilon. So if you see these vowel combinations, know that it just makes one single sound. It's not oi, it's not oi, it's not e, it's not ow, I. They make one single sound the way that this one does. So if you see alpha iota next to each other, it makes a single sound e, which is equivalent to epsilon. Epsilon iota makes the sound e, so which is equivalent to the sound that these make, iota, eta, and ypsilon. They all make the sound e. Omicron iota also makes the sound e. So we have 5 e's. We have iota, eta, ypsilon, epsilon iota, omicron iota. The 5 e's in the Greek language. Omicron ypsilon makes the sound u. U. Kind of like pool, like two O's next to each other in English. Ypsilon iota also makes the sound e, but it's very rare. You'll only see it in a few words. So I'm actually not concerned with it. I was actually not going to include it in here, but just to be thorough, I included it. Now, alpha ypsilon makes the sound af or av, and epsilon ypsilon and eta ypsilon also do the same thing. They make the sound f or ev, if or eve. And the way you distinguish which of these you use is if let's say you have alpha ypsilon, if the next consonant or the next letter, if the next consonant is a voiced consonant, if it is voiced, then you use the V. Then you use, in this example, this would be pronounced av. And what voiced means is if you use your vocal cords to make the sound, then it's voiced. If you don't use your vocal cords, then it's voiceless. So if you have t, if the consonant that follows alpha ypsilon is a t, it's not voiced because I'm not using my vocal cords to make the sound t. my vocal cords are not vibrating, so we would make aft. We would make the sound f. So if we have this example, aftos, the taf here is voiceless. So the alpha epsilon would make the sound af. If, on the other hand, let me just move this up. If, on the other hand, this were a delta, which is a T, but it's using, the difference between T and D is that you're using your vocal cords to make the sound D. If this were a delta, then if we had something like this, then this would be pronounced av, avd. It's harder to say afd, afd, than it is to say avd. The voicedness of this consonant draws in the voicedness of this diphthong. I'm just going to move through all of the diphthongs, and then we'll see different examples for practice later. So there are diphthongs or digraphs that use only consonants, and they are rama rama, rama kappa, taf zita, mi pi, and ni daf. Rama rama makes the sound either of a G, like a G, or it makes the sound of ng, ng. This Rama kappa also does the same thing. So it's kind of like so the G is easy. You can just say G. So the word, let me just make a little box here. So the word angelos, you can either pronounce this as angelos, or you can pronounce it as agelos. This can either be a G or it can be ang. I'm just putting this G at the end just so you have the ng sound and then the G at the end. It's kind of like the name Ringo, like from Ringo Starr, one of the Beatles. This isn't pronounced Ringo, this is pronounced Ringo. So the Rama Rama or Rama Kappa can be pronounced just as a straight up G, or it can be pronounced as the ng in Ringo. Taf zita is pronounced z. So the food tzatziki, a lot of people pronounce this tzatziki or all kinds of things. This is actually pronounced tzatziki because the taf zita in Greek, tzatziki, you got taf zita here, you have taf zita here, so this is z, z. So taf zita is pronounced z. Mipi is pronounced b, and nt is either pronounced d or nd. One of these, either one, doesn't matter. So we can look at examples of all of these now. Now that we've seen them listed, you can write them down. You can do whatever you want. We can look at examples of each one of these. That way you can be familiar with what they look like and how diphthongs actually work.